Welcome to the Puzzle of Us podcast. I'm your host, Chelsea Peterson, the owner of Cache Valley Counseling and someone who's been doing therapy for almost 20 years now. Every time I say that, it feels like a long time, and it is a long time. And I'm just here to share some of my expertise and things that I've seen help people through the years. Some of these things have also helped me in my own life, really just help get you through life. And today our topic is really how to manage anxiety when life gets busier again. You know, the summer is slowing down and life is getting busier, or, you know, sometimes busy seasons are in the spring if you're an accountant and having to do taxes and those sort of things. But this can really help you whenever life is ramping up again and getting busier again. So we're going to go through ways to help keep your mind calm and your body grounded during really high stress seasons. And it doesn't matter when you're listening to this, you know, we all kind of go through the seasons of life and the seasons of a year, and some seasons during a year are a little bit more stressful than others. You are not alone. This happens to everybody. You're not broken for feeling more anxious, or when life speeds up, it's really hard to get that nervous system to really adjust to all the changes, you know, different demands or, you know, different things. You know, sometimes that speeds up for people going into summer because they've got now kids at home that are all needing them all the time, and they're used to them being at school and various things like that. So again, there's a whole bunch of situations that this could be occurring for you. But just when that stress gets going, know that you're not alone in feeling like, what the heck is wrong with me? Why can't I keep up with life? Because it's very normal to feel that, like, wow, this is a lot, because it is. And our nervous system tends to not be able to speed up quite as much, and we feel a little bit more anxious. So it's just simply adjusting and moving on and trying these things. So some of these things can be, like back to school sometimes can be really hectic, busy fall seasons, holiday seasons. Again, a lot of those examples might relate to you. You might not be in any of those phases of life. Students going back to school, you know, moving out for the first time, all those sort of things. This is what constitutes busy seasons of life. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are, you know, working longer hours or those sort of things, but just the busier seasons of life. So when this happens and we go through these different changes and there's different things required of us, right? It sometimes is energizing and sometimes it's very draining. Sometimes it's energizing right at front, and then when we have to do it for long periods of time, it then becomes like a marathon, right? We can't sprint at the beginning and then expect to be running the same pace at the end of the marathon. And that's where, you know, sometimes we need to be able to ground ourselves and slow down so that we know how we can pace ourselves in the race of life. So some of the things that are more of the sciencey things, I'm not going to go too into detail about these, but the physiological piece that is happening is when uncertainty happens and change happens, it increases our stress response. Our stress response is just naturally going to be triggered, and which means we're going to have more cortisol, we're going to have more adrenaline pumping through our body, which often can really tire us out. There's often, when this time is happening, we're already, you know, our brains and nervous systems are flooded with adrenaline and cortisol, and we have to make decisions, and we have a lot of expectations that we either have to meet or change or try to figure out, because the change, I don't know what's expected of me anymore. And that can become incredibly stressful, just emotionally taxing, physically taxing, because your body literally is producing more of these hormones to keep your body going, to be able to respond to the uncertainty, because the stress response is saying, hey, something's changing. We got to act different. We got to respond. This happens not because you can't handle it, not because you can't handle life. It's because that your system is trying to regulate itself. What I often see happen is that when we go through these changes, then we actually stay at these high levels of cortisol and adrenaline, and then we get used to running at those, and it's almost like we need that hit all the time. I need to be busy or I feel unproductive. I need to feel busy. I need to feel this adrenaline, or I don't know that I have purpose or worth. And so those are just, again, some things that can happen for on the con side of this stress response that happens in our systems. Just know that it's not you. It's not that you can't handle life. It's that your system just really needs time to regulate. And the more we're able to bring that regulation down, the less likely we're going to get stuck in that high cortisol, high adrenaline pumping system, and sort of, some people, I dare say, get addicted to that and want that and need that to be able to feel good about life. And again, this is just a reminder to pause. We're going to go over some pretty basic things to help so that you can start to do these when you're heading into this busy season of life for yourself. So what I often see is people often feel like they need really, really big, like, I need an overhaul of life. I need to move. I need to change jobs. I need to like get out of whatever stressful situation that I am. And often, yeah, sure, that can certainly be a reset. But most of the time, those big resets, all the problems that you had before, it's very easy to just kind of fall back into those routines. So what I have seen to be really helpful is kind of these micro resets. 3 of them we're going to talk about today and focus on a little bit more. But the small, consistent changes and actions, that's what really matters, particularly in helping your body learn how to regulate cortisol and adrenaline and that stress response. The 3 things that we're going to focus on today is grounding the body, structuring your day, and mental reframing. So the first tool that we're going to talk about really honestly takes 2 minutes. 2 minutes or less. And it is the concept of 4-7-8. It's a breathing pattern that you can do. Some people call it box breathing. We've talked about box breathing before if you've been listening to the channel for a while, but it's just some people do it for 4 and then hold for 4 and then out, exhale for 4 and hold for 4 is more of the box breath breathing. But the longer you can hold and the longer you can exhale and the longer you can just slow that regulation down, that breathing. And think about it, when you're panicking or when you're running, your breath usually is a right? It's usually a little bit higher paced, a little bit faster, a little bit quicker. It's more shallow breaths. And so the idea of this is really forcing that lung expansion. We're putting oxygen into your blood system and you're really helping everything to kind of slow down. So that's when we can control that breath. That's really why this breathing seems so simple, but it is something that most people are not very good at. And when we focus on it and really become in tune with our breath, we can really regulate a lot of what our nervous system is doing. So this 4-7 breath is you inhale for 4, you hold for 7. So inhale for 4 through your nose, 4, and then you hold it for 7. 7 counts. And then you breathe out through your mouth for a count of 8. So in through your nose, out through your mouth, and in through your nose for 4, hold for 7, out through your mouth for 8. Box breathing is that inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and then you do that again. And the 3, 4, 5 times of doing that really helps your nervous system to go, ah. And I've done this so much now, I can do it one time and my nervous system is like, oh yeah, that's how it feels. Let's go back to regulation. Again, it really activates that parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of the stress response, which helps our nervous system to be able to say, hey, it's okay, you can relax. You don't need to stay at this high level all the time. So I would really encourage you to pause the episode and try to do 3 cycles of either the box breath, in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4, or 4-7-8, which is inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. Doesn't matter which one, pick one, pause the episode now, and try this for 3 reps of this. And just take note of how your body feels before and how it feels after. All right, now that you've paused that, hopefully you have paused and you're coming back and feeling nice and relaxed, and just notice, it might not be this, you might not get the euphoria of like, oh, I'm ready to take a nap, But hopefully you just are able to feel that sense of relaxation, that ability to just kind of feel yourself relax a little bit. And it's very simple. You can do that more than 3 times. You're not going to hurt yourself by doing it more. There's no contraindications for breathing regulated a little bit more. But those are just small things that can really help to just kick that parasympathetic nervous system online.
Hey, Chelsea here. I wanted to tell you about our relationship course titled Blueprint to a Lasting Relationship. It helps you navigate the core dynamics of your relationship. You'll discover your partner's conflict resolution style, how to discuss money, religion, intimacy, and so much more. If you want to build a stronger relationship with the love of your life, then click below to learn more.
The second tool we're going to talk about is the anchor habit. For really overwhelming days, I would really encourage you to pick a consistent time. So the couple of things that are most important about this is a consistent time, so that you do it every day at the same time and it becomes part of your routine. And if any of you, I'm not going to go too much into this, but if you're creating a new habit, it's easier to habit stack, which is pick something that you already do, right? Whether it's morning coffee or brushing your teeth or sitting in the carpool lane or on the drive home from work, or something that you do every day that is already in your day that's consistent, right? I brush my teeth, I take my vitamins, I brush my hair, I get ready, whatever, right? Like if those are the things and that's kind of the pattern that you do, that's the habit that you have, it's easier to stack one more new thing on an already set of established routines and habits. So pick a time. If it's a bedtime routine or a midday routine or an afternoon routine, it doesn't really matter when it is, but pick a time where you have one of these already and focus on a couple of things. You can either write down 3 things that you can control today, or you can just move your body for 2 minutes. But doing something that really kind of anchors you, grounds you, helps you find purpose, kind of reframing your mental state too of, okay, this is what I have done today. This is what I've got to get done. Particularly for those really overwhelming days, it's really helpful to kind of give yourself an attaboy. Take a pause and give yourself a little bit of credit for the work that you've already done today, or the work that you're about to do if you do it in the morning. The fact that you were able to get sleep last night, right? Like help yourself have that kind of positive coaching moment of you're doing it and you're doing a good job and you can do this. But really focusing on the 3 things that you can control, especially in really chaotic moments. There's a lot of things, particularly when uncertainty comes, that you cannot control. But what are the 3 things I can control? I can control that I'm eating. I can control that I'm exercising or moving my body. I can control, if I'm reading or not reading, or how I'm filling my time. Sometimes, there's time to do that, even if it's with something else, right? Like if I really like to read, I can listen to a book or a podcast or something as I'm eating. And so making sure that there are 3 things that you can control every day and focusing on what you can control. My husband always likes to say, control your controllables, right? There's, especially in really chaotic times, in this high busy season that we're talking about, there's a lot of things that you just cannot control. You can't control the late client. You can't control the email that comes in at 12:35 a.m. There's a lot of things you can't control, but focus on the things that you can control and do them to the very best of your ability. And usually there's there's more than 3 things, but if you could focus on 3 things that you can control today, that helps those really, really overwhelming days to help you anchor yourself into like, okay, I did these 3 things. So really try that. I would also highly, highly encourage you to move your body for just 2 minutes, whether that's stretching, whether that's I'm walking around the house for 2 minutes, whether that's I'm doing wall Pilates for 2 minutes, or whatever it is, but moving your body for 2 minutes, again, and this could be something that you do in sort of this habit stacking phase of life, if you can move your body for 2 minutes, your body will thank you. Your body will pay you back by helping you to be able to easily access your parasympathetic nervous system because your body is moving. It's active. When we do this and we really get good at being like habit stacking and it becomes a consistent thing in our routine, why this works is because we can really anchor predictability, especially in these uncertain times, especially in the stress and the chaotic nature. It becomes something that our nervous system can rely on. It can become something of like, oh, I know I'm going to get a break there. I know I'm going to get a break here. I know I'm going to get a break when she takes that 2-minute walk around the block during her lunch break. I know I can give myself a little bit of credit when I'm able to finally recognize what I have been able to control today. When I can focus on those 3 things instead of being focused on all the things I can't control, I can give my nervous system a little bit of a break. So it really anchors that predictability and can be so very helpful for people and their nervous system of just becoming predictable. So again, I'm gonna ask you to pause the podcast and think about, really decide right now, what is one thing that you want to do to anchor yourself a little bit more? And when do I want to do it? Do I do it in the mornings? Do I do it at night? Do I do it before I get in bed? Sometimes you could do it in the middle of the day. It doesn't matter when you do it, but when are you going to do it? Pause the video, decide, commit to yourself that you're going to do it today, and then do it. Come back in a minute. Okay, and our third tool that we're going to talk about today is the mental filter shift. We are really talking about mentally shifting from all the chaos out in the world and all the things I can't control to what matters most in the next hour. Just the next 60 minutes, not the next week or month or even the next 24 hours, but just the next hour. What's the most important thing? And when we really focus on like, okay, what is the thing that I can control? Going back to controlling our controllables. I can't always predict what's going to happen in the next hour or in the next 6 hours or 12 hours or 24 hours or a week, but I can have a better read on what's going to happen in the next hour and how am I going to focus on that next hour. It really helps to try and give your body a little bit of a break instead of trying to control all of the chaos in the world all at once. I'm controlling what I can control in the next hour. And it gives your brain and your body just a chance to breathe a little bit. I would really love for you to find a sticky note and put what matters most in the next hour. Somewhere on a notebook or on a mirror or on the wheel of your dash or on your dashboard somewhere or as something that you see on the background on your phone of really just asking yourself the question, what matters most? If you are in the busy season of your life right now, I would put it somewhere where you're going to see it and you can remind yourself to ask yourself what matters most in the next hour. So when you see that, you can be prompted to give yourself a little bit of a break to think of, okay, what do I have to get done in the next hour? What's the most important thing in the next hour? What's the controllables in the next hour and how do I make that happen? Again, that sticky note can be that reminder. You can use them all over if you want to, but it can really help to just kind of trigger, okay, what really is most important in the next hour. Those are the 3 tools. Just wrapped up the 3 tools. Hopefully you'll be able to use one or all to help you get through the busy season of your life. I just want to touch a little bit for parents and partners that just the pressure of caring for others is a really big pressure. When you've got kids that you've got in school or people that are under your watch that you're thinking about, you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about all of these little humans, or maybe even not so little humans, but humans that you are caring for and watching out for and concerned for. That is like carrying a whole nother nervous system with you. And it is a lot. And I just want to acknowledge that there is a lot of pressure for parents and partners and loved ones to really, as we're caring for others, there's just a lot of pressure. I just want to acknowledge that for you and just say, you're doing it, you're doing a good job, and give yourself a pat on the back as well. Something that I have found really helpful, and I've heard from a lot of my clients is really helpful, particularly with parents, and whether you're co-parenting with an ex-spouse or you're still married and you've got all these, 6 different calendars in your household, is making sure that you're using a shared calendar space, whether that's, electronically sharing it so that you have access to it on your phone, or you've written it down somewhere. Writing it down somewhere isn't always, like, everyone always has their phone with them, right? And so I really encourage electronic copies because, when you're at a doctor's appointment and you're trying to schedule something and you're like, well, I don't have the calendar in front of me, I don't know if that's going to work. Or when, something pops up and it's like, oh yeah, could we go to this party, or can we be involved in this thing? And if you don't have your calendar, everybody always has their calendar with them, their phones with them. So some sort of electronic calendaring system. If it's helpful, I know a lot of families have whiteboards of calendars of each month, and they go through each week or they go through each month so that they know that the expectation and everybody's on the same page, can be really, really helpful, not just for partners, but for, what's expected of the kids and the family situation as well. So that can be helpful in just knowing that, okay, this is our busier time. Let's really use this time to get in a rhythm and be able to communicate well and know the expectations. It really helps to reduce surprises, and it sets clear expectations. And if everybody's sharing in the same calendar and putting all their same stuff, some people get really overwhelmed, but there's so many great ways that you can color code it and just make it a really usable thing. So I would highly, highly encourage that, especially in these really busy seasons of life. I also just want to recognize, as you are co-parenting or as you are in spousal relationships or partner relationships, that co-regulation is incredibly important, but also so is self-regulation. So your calm can be really contagious to other people. So if you do these other things, if you use these tools, and your calm can help you center and have access to your parasympathetic nervous system, you are also going to be able to help those around you. You're going to not be so triggered or reactive to those people around you when I'm able to stay a little bit more calm. That can then help, it has a ripple effect in your family or in your family system, whatever that looks like, in your roommate situation, whatever situation is that you're in, it can really help those around you. So I really encourage you to find your calm so that your calm can be contagious to those around you. So as you move in through, if you're in your busiest phase of life right now, I would love to hear how you're using these tools, how these tools are helpful. I would love to see you be able to, drop a comment in the comment below and tell us what tools were helpful for you, what worked, what didn't work for you, what you're trying and building on for the next week. Knowing that, feeling unsettled really is a sign that you care, that there's uncertainty out in the world and you want to care. That is a sign that you care, not that you're failing. No one is failing. Everyone is just trying to survive life. And sometimes we get stuck in currents, and sometimes we get stuck in eddies, and sometimes we get stuck in the river flow of life, and sometimes we get stuck in the rapids and we just keep getting beat up. And so I really hope that, feeling that feeling of unsettled and that feeling of just chaos is really a sign that you care and you're not failing. You are not failing. I would really, again, encourage you to start using a tool today. I would love for you to even commit to yourself, put a note in the comments, even if haven't tried it yet, which one you want to try. And if you do try it, I'd love to hear how it worked out for you. We do have lots of blog posts. We have some free guides. We have some upcoming workshops and some different things on managing stress. So make sure you're checking out our website for all of that information of where you can find our upcoming workshops. And if you know someone who is feeling overwhelmed and could maybe use this, maybe they're in a busy season of life right now, I would highly encourage you to share this episode with them. Maybe they could gain a tool from you just simply sharing a podcast. So share it with your friends, share it with those who you might be feeling overwhelmed right now. And I'm just so grateful for you listening, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. I'm your host, Chelsea Peterson, and we'll catch you next time.